Hello, welcome to BlenderSushi Live Noting. Today we're gonna do something that's a little bit fun. We're gonna play with dice, okay? I found that dice can be quite fascinating, especially with the numbers. It's just like it's a cube with 6 sides, and it has numbers from 1 to 6. And you're gonna learn today a little bit about number and pattern, and I have the dice already created. It's basically I made like 6 textures, and then for each of the faces I UV map it just like that. So each face is just the same big UV space, and I already draw it using Blender. I just painted this 6 different dice face. So, and I also assign it to each face. In Blender we can have like one object and multiple materials, and then we could assign different materials to each face. So that's really handy. I'm gonna save this real quick. So with this dice we're gonna play around with it using animation nodes. And yeah, just let's have a look. Object transform output. So let's see if we load this guy and turn on rotations. I'll teach you a little bit about EULER rotation as well. So as you know, rotation order in 3D is important, and EULER can sometimes give you like a flipping or like a weird rotations. But we don't worry about that for today. We're just gonna create list EULER. List EULER. What? EULER. Create EULER list. Yeah, we're gonna need 6 of these, because the other day we learned about the animation mix list, and we haven't used the EULER list. Today I was thinking, okay, maybe we do something with it, and dice is perfect for this example. So we're gonna rotate it. So 0, 0, 0 will give you number 1. So if I rotate it like 90 degree in X, I get 6. So I just put it 90 degree there, and then I have 90 degree in Y become 2, back to 0, 0, 0, and then 90 degree in, okay, that's not gonna work, minus 90 in X give us 3, and then continue, that's 6, 180 in X give us 5, and we need one more, it's number 4, probably rotate it in Y, yep, minus 90 degree in Y. So the thing with dice, I believe if we have like a number 1 on the top, number 5 should be at the bottom. So it's give number, if we 1 plus 5 is 6, and then if we have number 2, the opposite side is number 4, while number 6 of course is already 6. So just put 3 on. I think that's correct order. I'm not quite sure, but because I'm not really quite a gambler, but it's quite funny, interesting to see the game playing. So, and we could play with this list. So if you're not familiar with lists, if you're not a programmer, we have like here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lists, right? And we can plug the list into things like in rotation. So we have, with the list we have like index. For 6 objects we have index that goes from 0 to 5. 0 means number 1, 2, 1 number 2, 2 number 3, and then up to index number 5, and we get 6 because it's keep looping through the list. Okay, you cannot go further. And we have seen yesterday the mix list, and we can today use the mix EULER list. If we plug in the list into there and the result into rotations from factor 0 to 1, it's gonna go through each of the rotations one by one. So it's quite interesting effects. It's kind of almost satisfactory to see the dice rotating like that. Okay, and the next thing we can do is, you see the factor goes from 0 to 1, but we want the input that goes, instead of using the index number and it jumps between the rotations, we want it to let's say I want to show you the map range node. We have used this node a couple of times, but this node is particularly interesting because we can have like output min and max 0 and 1, but the input can be from 0 to 5, for example. It's kind of reversing. So from 0 become 1, and then 1 become 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so we are, the value is interchangeable in a, by using math like this, we have a lot of flexibility. We can even use interpolations to do the transition. And then with dice and then these animation nodes, we can easily make like duplications. So instead of having just a single object here, I wanted to have an instance object, and we're gonna use loop. If this is the first time you use looping in animation nodes, what we're gonna do is we're gonna plug this into the new iterator. Now the loop's happening. We have the loop node here, and with object list we can plug in the instance. And now we're gonna source the original. This is the master object. I put it to the side and source it, and then we can increase this to get the duplications. But for the positioning, let's see if we use like a line mesh for that. The line mesh, and just plug this into the instances so it knows how many points it's generating, and then this should go into the loop as a vector list like that. And now with the vector list here, we can plug it in to the position, turn on the positioning. Now we have the dice, duplicate it only twice. If animation node is slowing down, because I'm recording at the same time, I'll just turn off always, and just like that. Step is 3. I'm trying to create like a kind of like if you ever go to casino and you play game of 3 dice, sometimes it's called like a big small or something. You have seen a 3 dice like this. We could arrange it like this, or like that. Okay, that's what I want. So the dice is arranged like that. at the moment they are all controllable using nodes. Back to the 111. Now here we can randomize. So if we use like a random number between 0 and 5, we can use the index plug into the seed, and as we already know, the output, if we use that, just debug loop, plug that in. Let's have a look. Turn on always. Now the result is floating value. We want it to be integer, so float to integer, and this should go into the value. And now we can see we almost have like the dice game here. Guess the next number is gonna be even or odd. When it's the total number is gonna be even or odd. This is like 3, 2, 3, 6, 8. So this even number. The next may be even again. 5, 5 even. So I win. Even. 5 is 9. So I lost. So we have like a game of dice here already. Yeah, this is fun. You can definitely play around with it, but no, we're not gonna do that. What we're gonna do is we're gonna duplicate these dice and create like arrangements, and we're gonna use the sampling example and to generate a image based on dice. I remember this example was originally done in like a big brother of software is the Houdini. I think there's an example in Houdini that shows you how you can create like an image kind of pattern using dice. So I will recreate that in animation nodes. We actually already have everything here. We just need to create a sampling setup. Okay. So instead of line, we're gonna have grid. I'll get rid of the line. Have a grid mesh. Plug this in, and this goes into the vector. Now we have 25 by 25 dice. Actually, I increased it. Now we have like, whoa, 35 by 35 is like one. That's too many. Maybe 20 by 20. Okay, 400 dice. The distance can be 5 by 5, 3 by 3, 2 by 2. So that's kind of what we got now, which is interesting. It's almost like complex looking already. I want to go back to this dice, and really for each material I don't need to see shades. I'm gonna make it shadeless. Each one of them. Okay, shadeless, and here solid. Solid cannot see. Probably we can switch to multi-texture. Yeah, multi-texture should be okay. I believe this is still working. Okay, cool. We don't need to see the light. Now we can have this pattern. Let's save this real quick. Save it again. Oh no, don't worry. So we have this pattern. It's actually just a randomly generated pattern, but we don't want it to be too random. maybe we wanna like an image, like a photograph or something we can use to arrange the dice. Let's see how we can do that. You already know how to do this using the resampling method and the displace modifier. We're gonna do that again. Okay, so let's get rid of the relationship lines first. Select the object in sensor, type U, hide relationship lines. So now we're good. And then let's see, let me think. We need the center points of each grid. Okay, so that's actually pretty easy. We already know how to do it. In fact, the center lines is actually the grid mesh points itself. So let's just create objects, new objects mesh, object output, plug this into the mesh, create a target, and let's call this centers. Now we have the center of each of the cube. You learned before that I use this technique quite often, and it's gonna be displays using displace modifier. Okay, and turn this value to 0, and then we want it to be RGB to XYZ or just the normal, doesn't matter. Turn on the texture and then go to the texture and then just grab a texture. Let's see what we have here. Black dog. Yeah, the black dog can work. Yeah, the doggy. We're gonna use it to deform our points there, and then we're gonna grab each value and use it for our dice. So that's basically the plan. Let's re-grab the mesh data. So these points have the data that we need. Just grab it, and then second one use modifier, and then we could bring this into our loop. So we're gonna reuse the loop here. Vector list. This is gonna be vector A, vector B, and just plug this in, plug that in, and we're gonna use the vector distance. And the distance is going to be different for each points, and let's plug the distance back into the value, but we're gonna convert it to integer. So instead of random, we are using the distance between the points before and after the displacement, and then you will see something's gonna happen. Input min and max between 0 and 1, I believe. Let's use the debug loop. Let's check the value. Zero, zero, zero. So I probably need to use the map range over here. value between 0 and 1, minimum output. Let's see if I have everything correctly set. Maybe I need to turn on always. Let's check the distance value. 0.8, 0.8. Okay, I think I know what's wrong. The UV at the moment is wrong. I need to turn this to object, and then with the object I will use a plane as a reference. So back to the points, use the plane as reference, and the plane needs to be the same size as the grid. So by doing this, the dog image will be properly placed like a UV wise in the UV space. I can now hide the plane. Let's have a look again. Check the oops, not the texture material. Okay. Let's check our debug loop and see the value now. So that's much better. Perhaps if we do it like this. So it's now giving a value between 0 and almost 5. Yep, that's much better. I'm cheating a little bit, so I give like a value that goes to 6. Do we have 0 as well? Yes, we do. So now the value is correct. We can just plug this into our EULER thingy. Okay, so that's the image we got. In this case, it's the doggy image. It's mostly giving a number 6. Which is interesting. Maybe I need to remap the value once more, because the factor should be between. Oh, okay, I know. So at this moment, the value is between 0 and 5, but this mix EULER list only takes between 0 and 1. So let's do that, like the very first thing again. So map range is really handy for a lot of reasons. So now it's slightly better. We have a lot of 6. We probably want the opposite effect, 5 and 0. So that's probably kind of what we want. With the doggy image, it looks like that. What if we use like the mushroom image? Do I still have the mushroom image? Let me check real quick. Instead of the black dog, let's try a new texture. Open mushroom 400 by 400. Yeah, I still got it. It's not refreshing. Now it does. So that's a Super Mario Bros. Mushroom resampled into like a dice kind of design. And we can actually have it like that as well. Maybe my sampling is not enough. At the moment it's 20 by 20. maybe let's try 40 by 40. It's gonna be generating 1600 dice, but hopefully animation nodes and Blender can handle this. So 40 by 40. Let's see, our plane. Where's our plane? That's our plane. Might need to be doubled the size. It's 40 by 40, maybe 80 by 80 now. Doesn't seem to like, okay, here. Execute node 3 and then see what happens now. Okay, that's a definitely a better looking mushroom image. Maybe the distance can be 2.5 by 2.5, and this can actually be animated. The dice at the moment, there's some dice actually looking like weird like that. Have I converted back into integer? Not yet, so that's why. The integer actually, here's the value 0 to 1 becomes 0 to 6. Okay, just do it like that. Cut this and then put this guy right there. So that's definitely better. We might be able to turn on ambient occlusion. Yeah, it's looking quite good. Okay, I have to switch back. Let's take a look right now. You can actually use animations, like I said, like a image sequence to kind of make this more interesting. So instead of a single image like this, it's gonna be like an animated frames, like animated GIF, and then turn this into like a more like an artwork you can display. Yeah, so there you go, the dice resampling techniques. Hopefully you find this useful, and if you like this video, you can subscribe to this channel, and then I'll